For joining us and welcome to Self-Directed IRA Saturday. My name is Zach Wilson. I'm one of the IRA specialists here at Quest Trust Company. So before we get started, got to give you the disclaimer. All right. Everything that you're about to see here is for your educational purposes only. Here at Quest, we really emphasize providing as many resources and as much education as we can to our clients and investors. But it's important to understand the role that Quest will play when it comes to your investments within your self-directed IRA. Keep in mind that we are always here for you to give us a call, ask us questions, and even for the more complex situations, we have an IRA specialist available for you to address any concerns that you might have. But with that being said, Quest does not offer any sort of tax, legal, or investment advice. So for those of you who don't know us, who is Quest? We are the largest self-directed IRA custodian in the state of Texas. We have roughly 20,000 investor clients all across the country. We have, as it stands, over 2 billion in assets, and I think the most updated number was 2.7 billion in assets under administration. We have over 100 employees, 34 of which are certified IRA services professionals. That means no matter what day of the week, you have a certified IRA service professional ready and willing to help you out with whatever situation you have. And right now, we have over $400 million in undirected cash sitting in our clients' accounts. Guys, this is the opportunity, right? Whether you're a current Quest client that's part of that uninvested pool looking to lend out, or you're an investor looking to connect with people to raise funds for your deal, this is where your opportunity lies. Now, before you make any investment at all, what's always the first step is to educate yourself. All right. Check out our YouTube, check out our website, and go to the Education Center. You'll see hundreds of videos, guys, hundreds of videos going over a wide range of topics on how to invest using your self-directed IRA. You're going to see everything from the basics of an investment within a self-directed IRA all the way to the ins and outs of a syndication and what that looks like within your IRA. All of this is completely free to you, so make sure you're using us as a resource. Now, once you've educated yourself on the deal you're looking for, right? Well, the deal's not going to make itself happen. So you've got to go out and network. Take advantage of the opportunities that we're presenting, guys. Check out our weekly classes like today. Every Saturday at noon, we have a weekly SDIRA Saturday. Also at noon every Tuesday, we host a class for SDIRA Tuesday. If you're looking for more networking, check out our virtual happy hour on the fourth Wednesday of every month. That's a really cool one, guys, I got to be a part of recently. And all it is we take a bunch of our clients and investors. Right? We all jump into a Zoom call. Everyone gets a chance to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what type of deals you're looking for, and if you have any active investments you're looking to make or maybe raise some funds. This is where you really get to connect with a lot of our other Quest clients. But by far, our most common networking is going to be our SDIRA socials on the first, second, and third Tuesday of every month. Right? This is going to be happening in Houston, Austin, and Dallas, respectively. This is, like I said, by far our most common networking event because we bring people together in person. We allow you to network for the first 30 to 45 minutes. After that, we bring a presenter out to go over whatever topic they choose at that time. And then after that, we're also going to allow people to network, and we even brought back deal pitching. So if you have a deal and you're wanting to get face-to-face in front of our clients, check out our socials on the first, second, and third Tuesday of every month. Now, that being said, this month is going to be the one exception. Because we know the first Tuesday is July 5th, everyone's going to be a little bit tired after July 4th. So we've gone ahead and we've moved that SDIRA social from Houston from the first Tuesday to the last Tuesday. If I'm not mistaken, it's either July 24th or 25th, but it's the last Tuesday of the month. And with this one, why it's going to be special is that we do not have any presenter. This is strictly networking and deal pitching. If you go to our website and check out our Sizzling Deal Social, that's going to tell you everything you need to know about it, and you're going to be able to register there. So guys, if you're looking for a networking opportunity and you're looking to pitch a deal, that's the perfect time to come. Outside of that, the big one, the Quest Expo. Guys, like I said, every week, this is the biggest value that we can offer you as a company. Right? There's going to be tons of vendors. We're expecting around 800 to 1,000 people to come. And there's going to be over 30 to 40 speakers who are going to come out and talk about a wide range of alternative asset investing. Keep in mind, guys, this is not an IRA event, right? This is not an IRA expo. This is an alternative investment expo. So we're going to talk about hard money lending. We're going to talk about syndications, both inside and outside of your IRA. We're even going to have a panel that's going to address inflation and the roles that alternative assets can play in your portfolio. So guys, if you're interested, give me a call. My name is Zach Wilson. Like I said, we even have a special code. If you get a hold of one of our IRA specialists, we can give you an additional discount. So guys, here's my contact info. Don't hesitate to reach out to me or any other IRA specialist if you have questions. Even today's video, as we're going along, it's a recorded video by Eddie Gant, but still utilize the chat. If you've got a question that's geared towards an IRA, we'd be happy to help you. If not, if you have a question specifically for Eddie and the team at Jet Lending, then we're going to provide their contact information so they can reach out to them and ask them your question. All right, we have Colin in the chat. He's one of our IRA specialists. He'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. So without further ado, we're going to jump over to that recording by Eddie Gant. He's going to go over scaling your business within the real estate market. All right, Victor, you got that video up? There we go.
Okay, hello everyone. Eddie Gant, Jet Lending here. We're actually filming this on Friday, July 1. I believe this is going to be broadcast out tomorrow, Saturday, July the 2nd. It's a good day to do this because July the 1st, a lot of articles hit the street this morning. I've been preparing for this a little bit today, reading articles from various economists and statistical reports on the news. A little bit about me first. I've been a real estate investor 23 years. I left my corporate job and I guess it was June of 1999. Civil engineering background. I did a lot of power plant construction, a lot of materials engineering out there over about 16-year period. And then, I don't know, June 99, I walked into my job and quit. And the next Monday, I was in the flipping houses business. That was about 1,700 plus houses ago. We've got about, like I said, 1,700 under our belt. We started loaning money to other investors in January 2004, and we are still in the real estate investment business. We are still in the lending business today. Seen a lot of changes. One thing that's always constant in this business is change, and boy, are we experiencing it now. We're going to talk about that in detail. I've got a lot of paperwork spread out in front of me. As I go through this for the next 30, 40 minutes, you're going to have to bear with me a little bit because I'm going to have to maybe look for the data that I want to talk about. But what I've been asked to talk about today is today's market, the changing market, interest rates changing. That means rising interest rates. You know, what's all this doing to the investor world here in Houston and in Texas? Is the market slowing down? What are we seeing with the real estate market now? I got some statistical information for you. You know, we were around in 08. We were real estate investors in 08 to 10. We were loaning money through Jet Lending from 08 to 10. And a lot of people didn't make it through that period. Unfortunately, we saw the number of investors really decrease. We saw the number of lenders really decrease. So we're going to talk about that and how this is different from that time period. At Jet Lending, we are extremely involved in this because, I mean, I can't throw a report out here for you today, but I'm going to say we're probably the leader in Southeast Texas. That's a fancy way of saying, you know, Houston and Beaumont. I think we're the leader in doing construction, fix and flip loans, where we do a lot of loans for real estate investors that's going to buy, fix, and sell. And we do a lot of loans for investors that's going to buy and hold in residential. And we also do a fair amount of small commercial. We lend all over Texas. We do lend outside of Texas now. Our stronghold is obviously Texas and Houston, but we can talk to you about loans anywhere, whether you're going to buy, fix it, and flip it and get some money quickly get some profit quickly, or you're going to buy and hold it for long term as a rental, and again, small commercial as well. So what's going on today? Well, interest rates actually dipped down at the end of June. Now, let me back up, because when you talk interest rates, we got to separate. You got to separate between short-term and long-term rates. You got to separate it between owner-occupied rates and non-owner occupied rates. Non-owner occupied means an investor loan. So let's first talk about what's going on with owner occupied loans and interest rates, and what's going on, because that affects the sales greatly of the real estate investor who's buying, fixing, and selling, buying, fixing, and flipping quick for profit. These interest rates and homeowners that are buying these properties to live in from investors, that sales process is greatly affected. The long-term rates for homeowners, and I say homeowners, I'm talking about homeowners to live in a house as a homestead, they actually came down in the last week. They looks like the statistical information I've looked at, they peaked a couple of weeks ago at about a 6.3. Well, at the close of business yesterday, the national average was about 5.7. And you read so many articles, there's some deviation there. I saw basically from 5.7 to 5.75 was where most of the articles were. And again, that's down. Now, it's way up from where we were a year ago. Exactly 1 year ago, we were hovering around the 2.9 range, and this time in 2021. So that's a great big increase over a year. And what that's done is slow down the number of people buying houses to live in. There's just no other way to put it. The statistical information indicates that. I've got information in front of me that HAR, which is Houston Association of Realtors, here locally in Houston, they have a lot of articles, and they come out about, pretty much every week, sometimes more than once a week. But showings are down. Active houses are rising on the market, and it's that way in pretty much all the markets. And I got the exact numbers for you here. And that's a slowdown of purchases. And again, that's going to affect the buy, fix, and flip investor. So where are we today? When I looked at the number right before I got in front of this camera, just about 20 minutes ago, the number of actives for single family homes in Houston, Texas on HAR.com was 18,004. Okay. 18,004. That's the first time we've been over 18,000 since the month of COVID, March of 2020. We are, for all practical purposes, exactly where we were on Monday, March the 9th, which I have coined the phrase myself, if you don't mind, I'm calling it COVID Monday. It's written on my board in my office, been there for over 2 years now. And that number, not to confuse you, remember I said a minute ago, was 18,004 when I walked in here, was the number 2 years ago on Monday, March the 9th, 2020. The number was 18,044. So it's only 40 difference from what it was 2 years ago. So I wrote that number on my board because I knew it was going to be a big deal. So here's where we've been since March of 2020. The number was 18,044. It slowly came down to about 12,000. And then it dropped to 10,000. I never saw it go 99.99. And again, I'm talking actives, single family homes on the market for sale in active status in the Houston, Texas area on MLS. I never saw it go to 9,999. I saw it go to right just above 10,000. Stayed there for a little while, climbed up to the 12,000, went back down to the 10,000 level again, climbed back up to 12 slowly, inched up a little above 12, and 2 months ago, it shot to 18,000 where we are today. That is a raise of 6,000 actives in a very, very short period of time, less than 2 months, probably closer to 5 or 6 weeks. And that's still not a bad number, but it's the trend. And I've said it forever. The number one indicator of what we got is the number of actives on the market or in any market and the trend of that number. So it's trended up pretty heavily. That's still only 2 months of inventory. You read a lot of articles out there where they talk about a market that's in equilibrium being 6 months. And I don't agree with that. In my opinion, if you've got 6 months of inventory, you're in a buyer's market when you got 6 months of inventory. I don't like that 6 month that you read out there. I think equilibrium is closer to 4.5. That's what I see, where it's just a stable equilibrium market. Now, so at 18,000 actives, 2 months of inventory. So that means we're still in a seller's market, but we're trending pretty darn fast out of there. And I have been on stage many times and I have said these words about when people ask me what's going to happen. I have said that there is a tug of war going on between rising interest rates and the supply and demand. We still have a supply and demand problem, which, you got to look at and see which way, which side of the table you're sitting on to say if that's a bad thing or a good thing. We've been in a tremendous seller's market for a while here. And again, depends on which side of the table you're sitting on, if that's good or bad. If you're sitting on the side of the table and you're a buyer and you're looking for more deals, that's not necessarily a good thing for you. But once you buy the property and once you have it in your inventory in the market that we've been in, being in this tremendous seller's market, that's a good thing. So you really can't say one's good or one's bad. It's which seat are you sitting in that day. I can tell you this: when you're in a seller's market like we've been, it's tougher to find deals. Ain't no doubt about it. You can still find them. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But the good news is when we've been able to get them, either get them cleaned up and put on the market, or we get them and repair them and fix them up nice and put them on the market, sell the dadgum thing so fast and usually at a premium. So that's a good thing. So back to these actives and what's going on with this tug of war. There is still a tremendous out of whack, if you will, supply and demand. There's more demand than there has been supply for a long time. And these interest rates is tugging against that to slow down the market. And there's no doubt about it. It is doing that. These are all short term right now, and nobody knows. You read all the economists' predictions, and heck, they have to change them every month because what they predict doesn't happen. I've been reading articles since, really going back and looking at articles that were written the last half of 2021, written the last half of last year by some really, really great economists that I like, and I believe in them. But you go back and look, most of those predictions are not panning out today. Most of the economists predicted that the interest rates would rise to about 4.9. No one was predicting that they would go to 6.3 as they were a couple of weeks ago. No one was predicting that they would be at 5.7 right now, which is where we're at today, at 5.7 to 5.75. You go back and look at those articles less than a year ago, second half of last year. No one was saying that. No one was saying that. No one was predicting that the inventory would start to rise as quick as it is. So you really have to look at this stuff and do your own evaluation. And one thing I'll say about all those articles, as you read as many of them as I do, it's obvious sometimes the headline of the article doesn't match the content. They'll have this some kind of crazy headline that'll say defaults are getting ready to go through the roof again. And you read the article, and that's not what the article's about at all. So it's obviously they're trying to get you to read and hit the click so their sponsors can, pay them $1 for every click, or 50 cents or a dime for every click, whatever it is. So you have to be careful about what you're reading, what these articles say. So anyway, long-term rates have trended up. They came back down last week. Actives in the Houston, Texas, and it's going to be the same for Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas, the same trend, trending up. And that is because the sales and writing of contracts has slowed down. Now, this is an interesting statistic for you that I saw just a couple of days ago, and I went back and reread it just about an hour ago to make sure I had it right. And now what I'm about to tell you really don't jive with what we've been talking about. But I read the article twice. It said in Houston in the last 2 weeks that the number of new active listings has severely declined. It's down by almost 30%. What that means is realtors working for sellers, putting those houses on the market at a particular rate of new active listings per day. That's down 30%. Now that's a little bit of a, doesn't go along with the data, the actives rising. So what that really means is, in my opinion, is the number of sales of new contracts written is really slowing down because actives are going up, but the rate of new actives being entered into the data by agents is going down. So that's interesting thing to know about. Everybody that I read out there predicts these current trends to be short-lived. I'm not going to get into a political which side of the fence everybody's on, but I will tell you this. It's July of 2022. We got another presidential election coming in 2 years. This is going to be a major topic. The Republicans are going to use it against the Democrats. The Democrats are going to try to turn this around so the Republicans can't use it against them in 2024. So the next 24 months is going to be real interesting. And most of the people, most of the economists and analysts out there are predicting what we're in right now, which is again, slowing down market, interest rates rising, is going to be short-lived because of how much is going to be at stake in 2 years for Congress and the White House. Take it for whatever you want. I'm not here to talk about which side everybody's on or anything like that. It's just, I believe, a reality of where we're at today in this country. Each party is going to try to benefit to the best of its ability to get the votes. So I think we're going to see things short-lived in what we're in, and that's what most people say. Okay. As sales slow down, and we have seen this every time it happens, sales decrease, rents go through the roof. Released today, a press release, well, not really a press release, an article about Houston numbers. Rents are up almost 30% in demand and 11% in dollars per lease for single family homes. I knew that was coming. I'm not the only one that knew that. I mean, we see it. Sales suffer, rents go up. Rents are up to an all-time high, $2,239 average rent according to Houston Association of Realtors. It's on fire. Appreciation of housing continues to go up. That has not slowed down yet. Okay, yeah, it might. And if it does slow down, it's not going to slow down much because you still got this supply and demand issue. But the average home price, according to the articles I read this morning, average home price in Houston all the way to a record $440,000 per house. The next number I'm going to give you is median, and I'm a little concerned about this number. It wasn't consistent. Median price in Houston, $351,000. So that's interesting information to have. I talked about that 5.7 to 5.75 being the average interest rate for long-term 30-year mortgages for people buying houses to live in. Let's talk investor rates a little bit. Okay, those are a little bit different, and we have to break it down into short-term and long-term. Let's talk about short-term rates for real estate investors. That would be an investor buying a house, getting a loan from a local lender or a national lender for 6 months, maybe 12 months to buy it, fix it up, and get it resold. I'm going to say at the investor level, based on what I'm saying, we're not seeing a lot of change. They're going up a little. And the reason they're going up a little is most short-term lenders, asset-based lenders like Jet Lending, we borrow our money based on Wall Street Journal Prime. And to give you a little background there, since 2018 until just 2 months ago, that Wall Street Journal Prime was 3.25%. That's basically what small banks borrow money from big banks at. Okay. That number today is 4.75. So that number has climbed by 1.5%. And that's the Wall Street Journal Prime that most of your regional banks are going to use to set an investor's rate. Most of the asset-based lenders are going to use to set your rates. So those numbers are going up. That's a rise of 1.5. The feds have already announced next month they're going to raise it again. They've raised it twice in 2 months. The first time they raised it by, we went from 3.25 to 4.75. That's a 1.5. I guess they've raised it 3 times to get there. But anyway, doesn't matter if it's 2, 3, or 4. It's raised by 1.5. They have said that next month they're going to raise it again, and they'll talk bips. 50 bips or 75 bips to get you, that's basis points. For those of you who don't know, 100 basis points is 1 percentage rate. So when they raise the rate by 100 basis points, that means your rate went up by 1%. So by 50 bips that they raised it 2 months ago, that's a 0.5% raise. 75 bips that they raised it the last time, that's 0.75% raise. So they're saying they're going to go up by 50 or 75 basis points, which is a 0.5% to 0.75%. And your regional banks, which I think every investor out there should have relationships with regional banks. I think they're one of the keys to your success. You also need a relationship with a Jet Lending because some people, in fact, are not bankable, and some people need the money quicker than a regional bank's going to get it for you. I have said for a long time, the cost of money is not as important as the speed of money many times in our real estate investment world. So those short-term rates for real estate investors to buy, fix, and flip have been going up, and they're going to continue to go up. The feds are fairly vocal about why they're doing this, and that is to slow down the economy and slow down inflation. The point that I would disagree with them is it worth that to put the company into a recession? I looked at exactly 10 articles this morning on that was titled recession. 8 of the articles said a recession is imminent. 2 of the articles said we're already there. So take your pick. Okay. But it does appear that the economy is either entering a recession or very soon will be. And most of those articles, again, because of the way that the game is played in Washington these days, each side will use it against the other side. It's expected to be somewhat short-lived. But again, you have to be careful with believing all that. Because remember what I said earlier, I went back and I looked at I looked at a bunch of articles from late 2021 of all the predictions, and most of them are wrong. They had to revise them as the year turned. All right, what long-term rates for real estate investors, and that is, you're going to get it from get these loans to hold your properties from a company like Jet Lending, an asset-based lender, or you're going to go to the regional banks. Regional banks are still going to use the Wall Street Journal Prime to set your rate. Okay, but a bank's only going to honor a rate for 5 years. 5 years. It's all you're going to get that rate, set for. And the banks have a 5-year balloon on all of your long-term notes. They're amortized typically at a bank 15, 20, and maybe 25 year. Most of them are going to be 20-year amortization to set your payment. But your rate's only going to be good for 5 years. They don't do that so they can all of a sudden foreclose and take your house in 5 years. They do that to protect the bank against a margin or a shift in the rates, just like we're doing now. That's the reason we're doing it. You come through a Jet Lending, we can get you long-term financing that is fixed for 30 years, and you don't have to show your income. And 3-4 years ago, these loans didn't even exist. I'll bet most of you out there may or probably have not heard this terminology. They're called non-QM loans, and that non-QM terminology is quickly going away to call DSCR lending, debt service coverage ratio lending. We were at a national show last week. As recent as, I guess, November, we were at national meetings, and everybody in the room was calling them non-QM loans, and that is in just 8 months, 9 months, terminology has shifted to DSCR loans, which means it's based on credit, it's based on loan to value, and it's based on your debt service coverage ratio, meaning your rent received versus your payment. I won't go into all of that right now. I've done it other times on this broadcast. That's not the purpose today, but those rates they're up. We were closing them in the 4s last year. Those rates I'm gonna look to my right. You can't see them, Alex. Most of them in the 7s today.
High 6s, low 7s.
Yeah, we're in the 7s today with most of those loans. Say hello, Alex.
Hi.
So anyway, in the 7s, but they're still reasonably easy to get if you have a credit score north of 660. Again, the underwriting is credit, loan to value, debt service coverage ratio. Those didn't even exist 3-4 years ago. That's a new product. They're all Wall Street loans. I'll be straight up with you. That Jet Lending closes these loans, and we put them in a box and send them up to Wall Street. But anyway, it's a great product. So let's talk about what else here. Let's talk about how this is different from 08. I lived 08. I remember it very, very, very well. What we have here in 2022 is inflation, which is causing the feds to raise the rate. We have a supply and demand issue in this country, not only housing, everything, chicken wings, microchips, vehicles. Go to a Ford dealership, drive by the lot. parking lot, their lot's empty. We got supply and demand issues. In 08, you had a total collapse of the lending platforms, and it started with the subprime lending and got on steroids, and you had a total collapse. Remember earlier, this is water. It's not beer today. I'll drink beer later. Remember earlier, I told you we got 18,000 houses on the market today. Let me tell you where we were in July of 2010. 18,000 today, right? In July of 2010, that number was not 18,000. It was 57,000. 57,000. We were close to 9 months of hold time in Houston. And Houston wasn't hit like Atlanta, Vegas, Phoenix, California, Orlando, Miami, Detroit, and I can go on and name some more. We were not nearly as bad as those cities. And we were at 9 months of hold time and 57,000 houses on the market. And that was all, for the most part, a direct result of a failed mortgage industry. And people couldn't get loans, and people were scared to death, and it was chaos. And I don't think anybody's predicting that again. But let me tell you how you do survive it if we get into a bad situation. And I say bad, depending on what side of the table you're on again. If you're trying to buy a lot of houses and hold them, you're going to love it because you're going to have your pick. If you get it, when there was 50-something thousand houses on the market, I bought 108 houses in 08, and I bought 102 houses in 09. It was my only 2 years I've ever gone back to back buying 100 houses. It wasn't any problem buying them. It was problem selling them. And we were buying more than we could sell. So, and the only time in the history of jet lending that we ever had sizable foreclosures, sizable meaning numerous. And we did 08 to 10. We unfortunately had to take a lot of houses back because investors were running out of money, couldn't sell their houses, and unfortunately couldn't pay their bills. We did not like to do it. We don't like doing it today, but unfortunately we had to do it. Just about every hard money lender in Texas went out of business. There was a small handful of us that made it through. But here's whether you're an investor selling houses or you're a lender with too many houses, you gotta exit these things and do something. Here's what you do. You turn to a multiple sales strategy technique. You still use the same strategies that we've always used. Fix them up very nice and put them on MLS, and you try to have the best deal out there, the prettiest house at the best price, because sales don't go to zero. Sales just decline. So you want to make your house the best presented one out there from who wants it, how does it look, how does it smell, how does it view, and your price point. Okay. But sometimes that's just not good enough. So you need to be prepared to buy and hold your properties. Because again, as I said earlier, as sales struggle, rents go through the roof. And we rented a lot of houses. A lot of the houses we have today, we acquired during that time frame. And due to that appreciation that we've experienced the last 36 to 45 months, they're worth a whole lot more today than they were in 2018. I can promise you that. I'm a walking billboard for appreciation. But you got to be proficient in leasing these properties. And part of that being proficient isn't just knowing how to write a lease and screen a tenant. It's having the long-term financing ready to go in place to do that. And as far as I'm concerned, 98% of you either need to be going and getting this set up with regional banks or a company like Jet Lending. Yeah, you can do Fannie Mae, but it's so harsh underwriting. And you only can do a few of them. These DSCR loans, formerly known as non-QM loans, there's no max that you can have. You can have as many as you can successfully make the payments and have good credit. So regional banks, that's another game that you need to know how to play, but that's pretty good. So you need to be prepared to be able to buy and hold these things, or hold them if you can't sell them. Where most of the investors went out of business in 08, 9, and 10, they couldn't sell their houses, couldn't get them sold, ran out of money, and did not make adjustments in their exit strategies. They couldn't hold them or didn't try to hold them. But here's the other one. You want to learn how to own or finance properties. We could talk literally 2 days on the entire owner finance strategy. So we're not going to do it here, but just put a plug in your head there, and just a note in your head that if we get to a bad economy, in terms of bad meaning it's tough to sell houses, remember the owner finance strategy is a way to build some really, really good wealth. So that's important to you. But you just got to know how to exit your properties. And what we did back then, and this was probably the key thing that kept us afloat, and not only afloat, we made money. I mean, we didn't make as much money, but we made money. We were profitable, I guess is a more elegant way to say it. When we had a house, we would put 2 signs in the yard. One said for rent or for lease. The other one said owner finance, X number of dollars down, or X number of dollars per month, owner finance. If it was really hard to move, we even had the words, no credit required or something like that. But so which one did we do? Well, it depends on who walked up on the yard first. If they wanted to lease it or if they wanted to buy it and had the down payment, and the down payment in that strategy is your key. I mean, the other things are important, but nothing is as important as down payment. And so that's a very effective way. It's a very effective way for us. And we literally did on a lot of houses. We had 2 signs in the yard, and that worked. Okay. I don't think we're going to get to that, but you never know. I think let me look to my right. Is there anything else that you can think of I should say about the 08 versus what we may be experiencing now? Can you think of anything? Can you think of anything I should say? Okay. I got my posse to my left and to my right here.
Just to be aware, as things change, in those times, finding the property was easy, but sometimes acquiring money wasn't. So if you're prepared to buy in 6 months from now, get your liquid assets prepared today for either cash outs or refinances or any kind of partnerships that they may wanting to be doing. Sometimes when properties are plentiful, money is not.
Mm-hmm. Good points. Okay.
Can you repeat that just to make sure everyone heard that?
Okay. Well, the main thing what Alex was saying was, in this market that we're approaching, make sure you've got your money liquid and ready to go. Either your money or Jet Lending's money or your Texas Regional Bank money or wherever those funds, don't wait. Get those things ready to go. And I agree with that. Okay, let me look through my notes. We talked about how the rents are already stronger statistically. Dollars per house, HAR is up 11% just this month alone, all the way to $2,239 a month. Rents, closings are up 25 to 30%. Appreciation has continued new records on average and median price. The nationwide mortgage for long-term rates for owner occupant buyers is it went to 6.3 a few weeks ago. It's down to 5.7 to 5.75. The Feds continue to raise the bank rates. The Wall Street Journal Prime is as we call it here. Those are on the rise. We were 3.25 for a long time, basically 4 years. And that number is now 4.75. Actives and Houston Association Realtors has shot up from 12,000 to 18,000 in a very short time frame, very fast. The 18,000 a day is exactly where we were in March of 2020 when COVID hit us. The trend is there's more houses on the market, which means the super scalding hot sellers market we had is cooling. I didn't talk about average months of inventory, but we were at 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.3 months for a long time. We're now basically at 2 months. 18,000 houses on the market is 2 months of inventory. We sell about 9,000 houses a month in the Houston area. So that's, most economists were wrong last year, but most economists are saying that the trend that we're in will be short-lived. 8 out of 10 articles said a recession that I read this morning. 8 out of 10 said a recession is imminent. 2 out of 10 said we're already there. The changing landscape, or that's not correct. The potential changing landscape in Washington will have a big influence on all of this. Inflation has been obviously major. Just look at your gas pump, look at your lumber prices, look at your cost of chicken wings, And again, I'll say this, I want to say it a different way. When I read all of these articles, a lot of this information I have for you today, I actually presented in March at the Think Realty National Convention. I remember researching for my presentation then, and I've kind of updated it this morning to present to y'all today. But when you read all these articles from late last year through March of this year, they all talked about the dire straits that the real estate market was in, how the real estate market was bad. It bad because of rising out of control prices and such a seller's market. Well, I'm going to slow down a little bit. Bad depends on which chair you're sitting in. To me, it was pretty doggone good. And we have over 100 rent houses, and we love the value of those now versus 3 years ago. And when we bought houses, we were able to sell them at a really nice profit. And as far as I'm concerned, things was good. But when you read the articles from the national writers, they don't say that. So it depends on which side of the table you're on here a little bit. So anyway, I hope I have said something today that will help you in your real estate investing career. I hope I said something today that will help you in 2022. And I hope I said something today that maybe you'll remember in 2032 from that bald, fat old guy that said he'd been doing it a while, Eddie Gant with Jet Lending. And we're here to help you. We don't want our clients to fail. We want our clients to make money. We have a pretty good ratio of repeat clients. You can search the internet later today if you want, and you're hard pressed to find any negativity on our company. And we're proud of that. And we got some good people, and we'll help you. We probably know Texas real estate investing, whether it's flips or hold, as good as anybody. And we look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to seeing you at the Quest Expo. My email is Eddie, EDDIE at jetlending.com. If you like this, please let me know. If we can help you, please let me know. If I said something you think's crazy, let me know. But we look forward to talking to you. We're pretty easy to find. We're on 1960 up on the north side of Houston. Y'all come see us. I got Alex to my right helping me. I got Haley to my left kind of helping me here. Y'all can't see them. They're not as pretty as I am, so they just let me on the screen. So thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Eddie, Jet Lending, thank you very much.
All right, guys. So like I said, that was a recording of Eddie. I see that we have a question here, Ted Giller. Let me pull it up. Just can you give an example of a regional bank? These are going to be banks that are local to you. Here in the Houston area, I know there are banks like Titan Bank, Bancorp, Texas Citizens Bank, stuff like that. All right, guys. So if you have any questions meant directly for Eddie and his team, shoot him an email. I'll get Colin here. Or Colin actually provided the email address for Eddie over at Jet Lending. We also provided their phone number. So give them a call, shoot them over an email. They'll be happy to help you. We work a lot. A lot of our clients will work with Jet Lending. So we work a lot with Eddie, and we really appreciate everything he does for us. And like he said in there, he's actually going to be one of the speakers at the Quest Expo. So if you liked what you heard here, come check out the expo. You'll get to see him speak and get to meet him over there. All right. And like we just said in the chat, thank you for throwing that in there. The recording of this webinar is going to be up on our YouTube channel here shortly at some point today. So you'll be able to take a look back at it and view the recording of that just like you do all of our other recordings. So guys, if you have any further questions after this, after we hop off, because inevitably that's what happens, right? The questions always come up right after it ends. Give us a call, shoot us over an email. Let me go ahead and share. You can shoot me an email directly or email our IRA specialist team at iraspecialist@questtrust.com. We will be closed closed on Monday for July 4th, but open again on Tuesday. So give us a call at that time if you have any questions. Until then, you guys have a good weekend. Thank you.